Twice in 5 years, the chief of police in Donna, Texas, was arrested by federal agents. The second was Marco Abel Partida, taken out of the Donna police station in November of 2002, accused of taking bribes from a drug trafficker. The first went on drug charges in 1997. In 2014, the Justice Department indicted a Donna School Board campaign manager for buying votes with cocaine and cash. In 2015, 2 school board members for demanding $10,000 from a district contractor. And in 2022, a former Donna police sergeant sentenced to nearly 15 years for escorting drug shipments through town. Now the other half, in the same breath. Donna raised its police overtime funding this year to a record $590,000. None of those men are the people who live there. Donna is number 1, and the order of this countdown is 1 number. It is the violent crime rate per 100,000 residents for 2024 from the FBI Crime Data Explorer. 62 Texas towns were measured. 12 are here, in ascending order, each with its offense count, its population, its rate, and its murders. One town here has a zoo because a man was handed a live hippopotamus. Another sits beside a man-made lake, held in by a grass wall 12 miles long. A third is 10,000 people inside a wind farm. Before number 12, the FBI publishes a standing warning against doing exactly this. I will read it at the end. Number 12. Lufkin in Angelina County. The way in from the south is Interstate 69, pine in planted rows to the horizon. In December of 1965, a Lufkin man named Walter Trout was handed a live 500-pound hippopotamus. He called it Hippie and built a zoo around it. Ellen Trout Zoo opened in June of 1967, 700 animals on 15 acres in a town of 34,000. US 59 and US 69 cross here, 120 miles north of Houston. 180 violent offenses in 2024. 34,218 people. 526 per 100,000. 2 of those offenses were murders. Lufkin Industries was founded here in 1902 and put this town's name on oil field pumping units worldwide. What became of it afterwards, I could not confirm, so I leave it alone. The rate went from 517.5 in 2019 to 526 now. Lufkin has 2 full-service hospitals alone on this list, CHI St. Luke's Health Memorial and Woodland Heights Medical Center. The air carries pine resin, and on the wrong wind, the cooked paper smell off the mills. The caveat. This is the biggest town of the 12 and the medical center for Deep East Texas, absorbing emergencies from a catchment that lands in the city's numbers. 2 murders among 34,000 people is 5.8 per 100,000. The Texas rate is 5.31. Lufkin is a timber town that answers the phone for 4 counties. Number 11. Lamarck in Galveston County. You arrive at 70 miles an hour because Lamarck is what Interstate 45 runs through between Houston and Galveston. Beside that interstate stands the grandstand of Gulf Greyhound Park, which ran live greyhound racing from 1992 to 2020. Galveston is 12 miles southeast, Houston 35 northwest. Flat coastal prairie at sea level, salt grass and drainage ditches, refinery flares on the northern skyline. The number: 108 violent offenses in 2024. 20,004 people. 539.9 per 100,000. 73 of the offenses were aggravated assaults. 2 were murders. What changed here has nothing to do with crime. On the 6th of February, 2015, the Texas Education Agency revoked the accreditation of the Lamarck School District, and Texas City annexed it in July of 2016. Very few Texas districts have ever been closed. There is no hospital in Lamarck. The nearest confirmed emergency departments are in Webster and in Galveston, about 25 minutes either way on the interstate. Standing anywhere in town, you hear 45, a freight truck hiss 2 miles wide, and on a south wind, the petrochemical smell off the Texas City refineries. The caveat. Lamarck's rate rose 30% in 5 years, 71 offenses going to 108, 2 of them murders. Most of the town is quiet post-war subdivision with cheap Gulf-adjacent housing, which is exactly why retirees look at it. Lamarck is a commuter strip that lost its school district. Number 10. Alice in Jim Wells County. Everything about the approach is brush. Mesquite and cactus over caliche, flat to the edge of sight. Alice is the birthplace of Tejano music by act of the Texas legislature. There is also Box 13. In the Senate runoff of August 1948, Precinct 13 here produced about 200 late ballots in alphabetical order, and Lyndon Johnson won by 87 votes. The election judge later told the Associated Press he had certified roughly 200 fictitious votes. US 281 and State Highway 44 meet here. The number: 97 violent offenses in 2024. 17,487 people. 554.7 per 100,000. 78 of the 97 were aggravated assaults. Nobody was murdered in Alice in 2024. What changed is the Eagle Ford bust. City sales tax collections fell from $17 million in 2012 to $8.5 million by late 2015, and county unemployment reached 11.6% in 2016. Christus Spohn Hospital Alice is on East Main Street, and it still delivers babies. It is level 4 trauma, so the nearest level 2 is in Corpus Christi, 44 miles east. The dust here is pale caliche, and it gets on everything. The caveat matters more in Alice than anywhere. The smuggling corridor everybody attaches to this highway runs through Brooks County, 40 miles south. The recovered remains and the 5 deputy sheriff's office are Brooks counties. Alice's own numbers: no murders, and a rate unmoved since 2019. The real figure here is poverty, at 30.4%. Alice is a poor working town that the state calls the birthplace of a genre. Number 9. Pampa in Gray County on the Panhandle High Plains. The drive is 60 miles northeast out of Amarillo, across short grass with no trees on it. Woody Guthrie became Woody Guthrie in Pampa. He wrote "So Long It's Been Good to Know Ya" here in answer to the dust storm of the 14th of April, 1935. The Woody Guthrie Folk Music Center is in the drugstore where he worked and found his first guitar. US 60 comes in from the southwest, and the town sits at 2,400 feet. The number, and this one runs the other way: 93 violent offenses in 2024. 16,445 people. 565.5 per 100,000. 1 murder. In 2019, it was 129 offenses. Violent crime here is down 25% in 5 years. This town is getting safer, and it is on the list anyway because the rate still qualifies. In November of 1987, the Celanese plant here exploded, killing 3 people and injuring 37. It was rebuilt in 13 months and shut down in 2009. Pampa Regional Medical Center is a 25-bed critical access hospital. The nearest full-service hospital is in Amarillo, 60 miles west. Carbon black has been made here since 1926, and the wind on treeless ground is a sound you stop hearing. The caveat: Pampa has the best underlying numbers in this film. Median household income of $53,458, the highest of the towns examined, and poverty at 17.6%, the lowest. Pampa is a cheap,
owner-occupied High Plains town, an hour from a full hospital.
Number 8. Bay City in Matagorda County. The approach is rice ground, dead level, with the Colorado River cutting through the middle of town. 15 miles southwest, there is a man-made lake big enough to see from space, held in by a wall of grass. The South Texas Project's cooling reservoir covers 7,000 acres, and the embankment holding it is 12 miles long and 50 feet high. State highways 35 and 60 meet in town. Houston is 90 miles northeast. The number: 101 violent offenses in 2024. 17,405 people. 580.3 per 100,000. 82 of the offenses were aggravated assaults. Nobody was murdered in Bay City in 2024. The nuclear station started up in 1988. Then, in April of 2011, weeks after Fukushima, NRG Energy abandoned the expansion that was to add 2 more reactors. The second boom never arrived. Matagorda Regional Medical Center has 58 beds and 500 births a year. It is level 4 trauma, which means stabilize and transfer. Anything serious goes 90 miles to Houston. Rice fields, and then a grass wall on the horizon that runs for 12 miles in a county whose highest point is 70 feet. The caveat: Bay City's rate rose 39% in 5 years, and its 5-year average of 463 per 100,000 is the lowest of the 12, so 2024 looks like Bay City's bad year. The numbers that stand out here are economic. Poverty at 26.7%, unemployment at 11.8%. Bay City is a nuclear payroll on rice ground with 11.8% unemployment. Number 7. Paris in Lamar County, 15 miles south of the Oklahoma line. The drive-in does not look like Texas. Pasture, hay ground, cattle on blackland clay. US 82 and US 271 run through town, and Dallas is 105 miles southwest. In Evergreen Cemetery, there is a 15-foot monument that the state historical marker calls the Jesus in Cowboy Boots Monument. The figure is beardless and leans on the cross, and whether it is Jesus at all is disputed. Paris also has an Eiffel Tower wearing a red cowboy hat. The number and Paris is the best news here. 156 violent offenses in 2024. 25,126 people. 620.9 per 100,000. Nobody was murdered in Paris in 2024. In 2019, it was 252 offenses, so violent crime here is down 39%, the biggest fall on this list. On the 21st of March, 1916, a fire took most of the business district. The courthouse was rebuilt by 1917, with pink granite salvaged from the building that burned. Then, on the 2nd of April, 1982, an F4 tornado came through. The federal storm record gives 10 deaths and 170 injuries. The Texas Almanac gives 8 dead and 1,500 homes destroyed. Paris Regional Health on Deschamps Drive is an advanced Level 3 trauma center for 2 states. Cut hay, humidity, and freight still moving on the old lines. The caveat is the good half. 72% of Paris offenses were aggravated assaults, almost exactly the Texas norm of 69. People in 2 states drive here for care, a daily population that per capita arithmetic never counts. Paris is a rebuilt town that is getting safer. Number 6. South Houston in Harris County. You reach it on State Highway 3, and the first thing to say is that South Houston is not part of Houston. It was laid out in 1907 as a land promotion called Dumont, incorporated in 1913, and it has run its own mayor, city hall, and police department ever since. The Interstate 45 interchange is 2 miles away. Downtown Houston, 13. The number: 109 violent offenses in 2024. 15,696 people. 694.4 per 100,000. 69 of the offenses were aggravated assaults. One was a murder. A hurricane destroyed the Youngtown's industries in 1915, and it was rebuilt through the 40s and 50s around ship channel industry. 612 people lived here in 1930, and 16,900 in 2010, and the number has fallen since. There is no hospital in South Houston. HCA Houston Healthcare Southeast in Pasadena is about 10 minutes east. It sounds like an airport and a refinery at once. Ellington Field traffic overhead, the industrial hum off the ship channel, hot asphalt in August. The caveat is arithmetic. This is a 3-square-mile city with a small police force wedged between two large ones, and offenses on a dense commercial strip get divided by a very small resident denominator. One murder in a city of 16,000 is 6.4 per 100,000. The Texas figure is 5.31. The rate rose 49% in 5 years, on 82 offenses going to 109. South Houston is a 3-square-mile city that Houston grew around. Number 5. Big Spring in Howard County, where Interstate 20 crosses US 87. You come in on 20 across Permian Basin ground, limestone outcrops, 15 inches of rain a year. There is a 15-story hotel from 1930 in this town, and it is open tonight. The Hotel Settles was for years the tallest building between Fort Worth and El Paso. It stood derelict for decades and reopened in 2012 after $30 million of restoration. The number: 164 violent offenses in 2024. 21,249 people. 771.8 per 100,000. 3 of those offenses were murders. Webb Air Force Base was deactivated on the 30th of September, 1977, and federal prisons later took part of the same ground. On the 1st of July this year, the Bureau of Prisons announced it will close the Big Spring Federal Prison. Scenic Mountain Medical Center changed hands twice in 2 years, and since January, it trades as Shannon Medical Center Big Spring. Midland Memorial is 40 miles west. The refinery is inside the town, 73,000 barrels a day. Flare stack, sulfur on the wind, truck traffic on 20. Now the caveat, and it is the most useful thing in this film. Big Spring's rate rose 41% between 2019 and 2024. The count went from 155 offenses to 164. 9 more offenses in 5 years. The rate moved because the reporting population fell from 28,278 to 21,249. Nobody attacked Big Spring. Big Spring emptied out. What is real is the 3 murders, near 13 per 100,000, more than double the Texas rate. Big Spring is a shrinking town whose crime count barely moved. Number 4. Snyder, in Scurry County, at the base of the Llano Estacado. You come in on US 84 or US 180, with Lubbock 85 miles northwest and Abilene 80 east. A life-size white buffalo stands on the courthouse square. The state historical marker says the hide hunter J. Wright Moore killed a rare albino buffalo in Scurry County on the 7th of October, 1876. The town's chamber dates it to 1873. The marker is what this film uses. The number, and Snyder's needs a warning attached. Snyder police reported 97 violent offenses in 2024 against 11,106 people, which is 873.4 per 100,000. 83 of those came in the first half of the year and 14 in the second, after 5 years of running 12 to 24 a month. That is the signature of a records change inside a department. So this film uses the 5 years before it, an average of 140 violent offenses a year, roughly 1,258 per 100,000, the highest five-year average here.
Nobody was murdered in Snyder in 2024.
On the 5th of November, 1948, Magnolia Petroleum opened the Kelly Snyder oil field. The town went from 4,000 people to over 12,000 in a single year, then settled at 11,000, where it has stayed for 70 years. Cogdell Memorial Hospital has served the county since 1954. It is critical access, and anything it cannot do is 80 miles away. Wind and turbines, about 400 of them, over cotton ground. The caveat: Snyder's property crime rate is 1,468 per 100,000, below the Texas average. 92% of its violent offenses are aggravated assaults, the biggest classification outlier of the 12. Snyder is a town whose own record stopped in the middle of the year. Number 3. Raymondville in Willacy County. North out of town on US 77, 52 miles later, a federal agent asks about your citizenship at the Sarita checkpoint. Raymondville is 10,000 people standing inside a wind farm. The Federal Turbine Database records 680 turbines in Willacy County, and the nearest one stands 1.9 miles from downtown. Harlingen is 23 miles south. 4% of the county's farmland is irrigated, so this is dryland cotton. The number: 89 violent offenses in 2024. 10,100 people. 881.2 thousand per 100,000. 71 were aggravated assaults. 1 was a murder. In 2019, it was 126 offenses, so the rate is down 24%. What changed is February of 2015. Prisoners at the Willacy County Correctional Center rioted and set fire to 3 of the tents they lived in, and 2,834 of them were transferred out. In March, the Bureau of Prisons ended its contract. Everyone called it Tent City. County Commissioner Beto Guerra put the loss at 23% of the county's income, and the county was left holding $128 million of bond debt. Willacy County has a hospital district that does not operate a hospital. Raymondville has no hospital and no trauma facility, and Valley Baptist in Harlingen is about 28 minutes south. The caveat: almost everything people associate with Raymondville crime happened inside a federal facility, to and by people who were not from Raymondville and were not free to leave. The state rates the Raymondville School District an A, higher than suburban Humble and higher than Donna. Raymondville is a 3-prison town, replacing its tax base with wind. Number 2. Humble in Harris County, 20 miles northeast of downtown Houston. You hear Humble before you see it. George Bush Intercontinental sits 6 miles away, and the arrivals come in low over pine and hardwood. The town says Humble, and the oil company said Humble. Humble is named for Pleasant Smith Humble, and the museum's own account says the silent H follows the way he spoke his name. Humble Oil and Refining, founded here in 1911, said it the other way. Humble Oil is now ExxonMobil. US 59 runs through town, over an oil field that came in on the 7th of January, 1905. The number: 161 violent offenses in 2024. 16,076 people. 1,001.5 per 100,000, 2.5 times the Texas rate. 2 of those offenses were murders. The rate is down 14% since 2019. What changed is the 8th of June, 1969, when the airport opened. The city's own history says Humble remained a rather small, quiet city until that day. Humble has 3 acute care hospitals inside the city limits. The state lists no designated trauma facility in any of them. The nearest is HCA Houston Healthcare Kingwood, about 17 minutes away. The caveat: and Humble is the clearest proof in the film. Humble's property crime rate is 10,388 per 100,000, 5 times the Texas rate. That is 1,670 property offenses among 16,000 residents. Humble police patrol Deerbrook Mall, a huge retail corridor, and the approaches to an international airport, all divided by the people who sleep here. 2 murders is about 12 per 100,000, genuinely above the Texas rate. Humble is a retail catchment with 16,000 residents carrying the arithmetic. Number 1. Donna, in Hidalgo County, 5 miles north of the Rio Grande. You come in on Interstate 2, and the old main street underneath it is Hooks Avenue. Nobody is allowed to catch a fish in the water Donna drinks. The Donna Reservoir is 400 acres of water and 17 miles of canal, and a federal Superfund site. In February of 1994, after PCBs were found in the fish, the state made the whole system a prohibited area for taking any species of aquatic life. The same reservoir supplies the city's drinking water. The number, and it is the highest municipal violent crime rate in Texas. 297 violent offenses in 2024. 16,781 people. 1,769.9 per 100,000, 4.4 times the Texas rate. 266 of them were aggravated assaults. Nobody was murdered in Donna in 2024. 0. The count has risen in 4 of the 5 years since 2019, so this is no one-year spike. In December of 2010, Donna borrowed $30 million against its property taxes and opened an 8-lane international bridge. As of December last year, it still takes no northbound commercial trucks. Donna has no hospital and no trauma facility. Knapp Medical Center in Weslaco is level 4, about 15 minutes east, and the nearest level 1 center is in Edinburgh. Standing water and open canals at the edge of the road. Citrus. Cut vegetable fields. The water that grows the citrus is the water posted off limits to fishing in 1994. The caveat, and it is the strongest beat in the film. 0 homicides in the town with the highest violent crime rate in Texas. 90% of Donna's violent offenses are aggravated assaults, 21 points above the Texas pattern of 69. And aggravated assault is the most classification-dependent category the FBI has. Donna police report more aggravated assaults per resident than any comparable Texas town, and this is a department with a federally documented history. I am leaving those 2 facts together. That is 12. Side by side, they look like this. 224,000 people live in these 12 towns. In 2024, their police departments reported 1,652 violent offenses. That is $745 per 100,000, 1.9 times the Texas rate of 397.8. Now, the murders. 12. 12 murders across 224,000 people, which is 5.41 per 100,000. The Texas rate is 5.31. At the state average, the expected number was 11.8. 5 of these towns recorded no murder at all: Alice, Bay City, Paris, Snyder, and Donna. 77% of the violent offenses here were aggravated assaults, against a Texas share of 69%. What separates these 12 towns from the rest of Texas sits in one offense category, and that category is aggravated assault. The murder column looks like the rest of Texas. Here is the warning I promised. The FBI publishes it, and it reads, "The FBI has a long-standing policy against ranking participating law enforcement agencies on the basis of crime data alone. Data users should not rank locales because there are many factors that cause the nature and type of crime to vary from place to place. Rankings ignore the uniqueness of each locale. Then, the FBI names the factors: population density, transient population, and commuting patterns.
economic conditions, highway systems, the effective strength of law enforcement, citizens' crime reporting practices, and correctional policy. Nearly every one of those factors is sitting inside these 12 towns.
A state prison in Pampa and another in Snyder. A federal prison in Big Spring closing next March. An airport and a regional mall in Humble. 5 of the 12 have no full-service hospital.
Donna, Raymondville, Lamarck, and South Houston have nothing inside the town, and the critical access hospitals in Snyder and Pampa cannot hold a major trauma.
Eagle Pass is 141 and Del Rio 171, about a third of the Texas rate. Reputation is not evidence.
The list is real.
62 towns measured, 1 federal file, 12 towns in ascending order. What the list measures is a fraction, and the bottom half of that fraction is the people who sleep there.